If you've ever found yourself on the fence trying to make the best decision, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your health, in your relationships, chances are the reason why you're stuck, it's simply because you have lack of clarity around the values that are guiding your decision-making process. In today's episode, I'm going to share more about how you can expedite your decision-making process, which is the key to creating success in life, being able to make decisions fast. We're going to talk about how you can expedite that and no longer get yourself stuck in indecision. At the end of the day, if you are in an indecision state, that is still a decision. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to the Musicians Creating Prosperity podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Fabiana Claure. And in today's episode, I'm going to help you learn how to diagnose when you may be putting yourself in a place of analysis paralysis and how you can get yourself unstuck, unfrozen, and use the parameters of value-based decision-making to help you expedite your decisions and help you take the actions that you may be second guessing yourself and help you know whether or not you're moving in the right direction, even if you don't have full clarity yet. So let's dive in. First, the best part for you to realize how to make decisions quickly. And first of all, why should you even want to make decisions quickly? Let's backtrack and start with that. Well, one of the things that I've realized over 15 years now of being an entrepreneur and working with so many musicians is that there's one core trait that helps musicians who want to succeed and that gets them results quickly that is undeniably a common denominator, and that is fast decision-making ability, meaning when you know you want to do something, it's being able to take the step and start executing versus pausing, reflecting, perfecting, thinking you need to wait and wait and wait and wait. And it sounds really, really basic, but yet it's profound. Your ability to execute quickly and to make decisions, even if it involves taking calculated risks, will actually make or break your success hands down. So why is that important? Because here's the thing. If you get yourself stuck in a place of indecision for whatever reason, and whatever it's about, whether it's in your business, in your life, in your health, in your relationships, being in a place of indecision means that you are consciously choosing not to move forward. And here's the thing. If instead you were to move into the direction that you're thinking you want to move, even if you're afraid, even if you have hesitations, even if you don't have 100% clarity about what that's going to look like, if you can move and create that momentum, ultimately, there is a chance that you may face some stumbling blocks. There is a chance that you may hit a dead end. But the good news is that you could always pivot, adjust, redirect your route, and course correct as you go to continue moving forward. Just because you make a decision doesn't mean that if it doesn't end up being the best decision that you're going to be stuck in there for the rest of your life. You can always course correct and continue moving forward. But if you get stuck and you do not make a decision, try to logically justify why you should wait and just postpone and push back the decision you know you need to make, then for sure there's 100% chance that you will not get to where you want to be because you're not even in the arena. You're not even playing the game. And most of the times when we have big decisions that we want to make, we get so caught up in the potential implications of making that decision that it freezes us from actually making the choice in the first place. And so in today's episode, I'm going to share with you, number one, why you want to rewire your brain if this is a tendency that you may have had in the past for whatever reason. Maybe you've tried things and they haven't worked out or whatever it is, recognizing that developing the skill, and it is a skill, developing the skill of fast decision making will help you feel less stressed in your life because you won't be putting so much pressure on every single decision. So there's an element that is called decision-making fatigue. And what that does is it creates clutter in your brain when you're forcing yourself to make too many decisions. Okay. When you have too many decisions that depend on you. And again, we're just taking a step back before we dive into like the full topic of what I want to talk about today. But here's the thing. If your bandwidth is maxed out right now and you're burned out, that will delay your ability to make decisions. It will affect your judgment. It will clutter your vision and your sense of criteria because you are putting attention and emphasis on too many decisions, most of which don't need your attention and execution and energy all the time. So that's the first thing I want to caution you. Even before we talk about your decision-making process, it's the fact that you right now may not be able to make the best decisions simply because you have too much on your plate. So before you really look at how do you make decisions, I would encourage you to take a step back and analyze if the decisions that you're involved in day to day are actually the right decisions you should be looking at. Or if instead you could delegate some of those decisions to someone else, whether it's a family member, whether it's someone on your team, or bring someone into your team if you don't have a team member. It is really looking at your decision making battery. Think of it as like a battery. If your battery is full every morning when you wake up, but then over the course of the day, you're having to make so many small decisions. And I'm talking about, we're starting from like, what should you wear? What should you have for breakfast? What should you be preparing for the meals for the day if you're doing all of your cooking yourself? What are the things that you're going to be doing with your family in the afternoon? Which workout are you going to choose today? What things are you going to buy? Who are you going to contact? If you are following up with people, who are you going to reach out to? If you have team members, like what are you going to discuss with them? Maybe thinking about what are your top priorities for the day. Look how many decisions we've already just tackled, more than 10 in the span of 10 seconds. Think about that over the course of 24 hours. It's a lot. It's a lot of decisions. And so, of course, when it comes to important decisions that may completely help you change the trajectory of your life, by the time you have to get to that point of making those critical decisions, you're just maxed out. You're just burned out. And so it's not that you cannot make key decisions. It's that your energy is drained because you've made way too many decisions all throughout the day in things that you could have potentially made decisions in a different moment. Being able to make those decisions ahead of time so that when the day starts, you're not having to sit down and try to think about what should I be doing now. Just that act alone will help you save your energy. And looking at your calendar and saying, okay, all these meetings that I have, do I really need to have them, or can I postpone them, delay them? Especially if you have things coming up, that are going to take a lot of energy from you naturally. So just being able to plan ahead and know that if you can avoid having to be making small decisions throughout the day, you're going to be in a better place to have better judgment for the decisions that actually matter. Okay. So after that step, when it comes to actually making a decision, okay, the first thing you need to know is, in order for you to move into the direction that is best for you, the only way you're going to be able to have that sense of clarity regarding whether that decision is the right one or not is if you know the reason why you're making that decision. And most importantly, if you have a sense of alignment with the values that are creating that decision. Are you making these decisions based on a certain value that you have? And what are those values, right? When you don't understand the reason why you're making decisions and what are the things you want to get out of those decisions, then it becomes really overwhelming. And you start second guessing yourself. You start doubting, can I do this? Can I do that? Because you don't have a deeper sense of understanding of what are the values driving that decision. So, you want to look at your core values and be able to ask yourself, what are the reasons that I would make this decision? What is the result that I would expect from this decision? And does it align with my core values, And asking yourself that for every single decision that you find yourself a little frozen or overwhelmed, not sure how to proceed. And the best part of this is if you have a sense of the values that are guiding that decision, whether you want to connect more with your friends, whether you want to connect more with your family, whether you want to give yourself more time for health and wellness, whether you want to work more on your creativity, your artistry, whether you want to develop yourself as a better leader, whether you want to be able to automate more your business, whatever it is that is really guiding that decision-making process, you will be able to overcome the resistance that will come to you when it comes to making the decision. Because even if it is the best decision for you, naturally, if it involves change, it will involve resistance, meaning there will be a part of you, or even internally or externally, those around you will be pushing against that change that you're trying to make. Because every time you ascend, you're going to face resistance. And if you're not clear on the values guiding that decision, you will interpret that resistance as a sign to retreat, to stop. Hey, real quick, if you've been looking for a blueprint on how to build, grow, and scale your online music business fast, I want to invite you to check out my online music business blueprint that will allow you to be able to get the most condensed version of the framework I've been using for so many years, helping musicians package their knowledge, build businesses in alignment with their values and lifestyle goals, and do so without trading their time for money. Check out this incredible resource. I cannot wait to see what you think. Now let's get back to our conversation. And when it comes to being able to make that distinction, when you feel that resistance, it's going to come down to your ability to ask yourself, why am I trying to make this choice again? What is the reason that I'm trying to take this step? What is that value that I said I wanted to fulfill and align by? And when you have that internal, it's almost like a North Star, right? When you have that North Star guiding that decision process, even if it feels resistance, even if it feels scary, you will be able to move through it because your values will be your anchor. Your values will be the motor, the engine, the vehicle that pushes you through that indecision phase. However, if you do not clarify your values and you're unsure of why you're making the decision, that's when most of the times you're going to stop. You're going to push it back. You're going to give yourself a reason to postpone it, and you're not going to move forward. So, in order for you to make the right decision, you need to know why that decision matters and how it aligns to your particular values. In my case, I have my values very, very clear. For me, it's really important to be able to be present as a mom and a wife with my family. It's important to be able to have a sense of fulfillment creatively, artistically behind every decision that I make. Because at the end of the day, I am still a musician and I want to be able to build a life that gives me the pathway to stay active as an artist while I continue guiding other musicians and helping them build their businesses and running 2 businesses myself and doing all the things. Keeping that artistic fulfillment is incredibly important. Being able to tap into my sense of faith and the motivation that drives me to do what I do every single day, and knowing that everything I'm doing transcends me, even my clients, feeling that what I'm doing and the work that I'm putting together and the people that I bring in and to help me with this mission transcends just me. It's a deeper calling, and it's really something that connects to my whole life's purpose, to be able to help other people create lives in alignment with their values, bring freedom into their lives, whether it's financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom. That is one of the core things that drives my decision-making process. And everything that I do is for that, right? Being able to create the fitness that I need for my body. That is another important value that drives every decision that I'm making, which for a long time wasn't part of my awareness. But as I've aged, and reached certain milestones in my life, I've realized how important it is to connect with my internal physiological, emotional, and just building that physical strength to be able to keep up with the incredible demands that it is being an entrepreneur and everything that's involved in basically being in like 100% in charge of your livelihood, right? It's a lot of pressure. And so being able to not forget that like we only get one body, and if we don't take care of it, then everything else falls apart. Being able to create a sense of freedom is also such an important value that drives all of my decisions. If the projects that I put in place will not allow me to have the freedom that I believe is indispensable for my life, whether it's freedom around time, freedom around location, freedom around my fulfillment, my creativity, my finances, if there's any element of that decision that will trap any of these elements, then I immediately know this is not for me. And so being able to tap into all of these different values for me is a very important part of how I make decisions. And so for you, as you think about, your values and reflect on these and evolve as time goes by, being able to connect, okay, why is this decision important? And most importantly, when you feel the resistance, which will come at you, believe me, it will come. There's a fine line between saying no to something because you are trying to protect something. There's this self-preservation mechanism that we're always going to have. It's part of our DNA. We are wired to preserve and to keep safe and to stay safe, right? It's a natural defense mechanism. So not being surprised of your natural tendencies to want to pause and want to be careful and want to wait and push things for later. That's normal. And then when you are able to understand that instinct of self-preservation, when not attended and reflected upon in the right lens with the right values underneath it, that self-preservation can quickly turn into self-sabotage. And if you allow that initial instant of pausing, waiting, reflecting, trying to second guess that decision to stop you from where you know you need to be, out of fear, out of, cautiousness, out of maybe being afraid of what other people are going to think, whatever reason, even if you think it's the best decision for you in the short term, in the long term, I'm going to caution you to ask yourself, if you were not afraid, what would you do? If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? And the reason why I love those questions is not because you won't ever fail, not because you won't be afraid, but because if you could focus on the faithful vision of what you want to achieve, on the vision of success, if you can envision what you want already happening, how would you make the decisions? Most of the times, if you're stopping yourself, it's because you're thinking that what you want will not happen, and therefore you're trying to protect yourself from failing. You're protecting yourself from being seen failing too, which is a very important part of this. It's not so much the fear of failure, but in many times it's the fear of being seen failing. So I want to caution you to not allow, if you are in the process of decision making and you're not really clear on the values and you're finding yourself in a place of stagnation, indecision, ask yourself, what am I afraid of? And are those fears valid? Are those fears real? Could there be a reason I could change this perspective and allow myself to push through these fears to actually move into the direction that I know I need to move? And that is actually going to help me, get to where I want to be. It's going to help me get to the next level of my life and will ultimately take you to where you know you need to be. And not allowing that self-preservation, those thoughts, those resistance thoughts, other people's opinions, not allowing that to ultimately be the reason why you get stuck. Because let me tell you, the most important part in this journey is taking ownership. If you make a decision, take ownership of it. Even if it ends up failing, even if you end up not getting to where you want it to be, it is a lesson. Failure is just data. It's information. It's now a chance for you to go back and do it again and do it better and have more ideas and more data, right? It's not something to stop yourself. But making a decision to not move into any direction and just stay the course, if you are not happy with your situation, with your current reality, then if you don't move, then you're actually making the decision to keep the challenges that you have. You're making a conscious decision to hold on to whatever it is that is keeping you stuck, right? You're not off the hook by not making a decision. You are, in a sense, still making a decision by not making a decision. I hope that makes sense. Indecision is still a decision, is where I'm headed, right? So being able to say, okay, no matter what I decide right now, I am going to own that and I'm going to face the consequences or face the benefits of that decision. And I'm okay moving into this direction. Sometimes, yes, sometimes the decision needs to be to wait. And I understand that. But understanding the implications of what waiting can do for you and being conscious of that and knowing that that's ultimately a decision in and of itself is so empowering. Because the worst thing you can do is feel disempowered and feel that you have no choice and that you have to continue facing your existing challenges because of other external factors, right? That's never the case. There's always another way. There's always another path that you could take. You just have to be willing to look for it. And even if it's a small step in the new direction, you can make incredible changes in your life by slightly pivoting what you're working on, if that's all you can do, rather than just continuing the course if you know it's not where you want to go. So I hope this helps give you some strategies to be able to, tap into that inner wisdom that you have in your heart and let go of any overwhelm, any external factors that may be trumping your ability to make the best decision in your life. It is going to help you so much to be able to act fast, to learn to make the right decision, to learn to make a decision in the first place, and to feel liberated that no matter what, you will be okay. No matter what, you will figure it out. Trust yourself, trust life, trust that you are here to ultimately be of service, to guide others, to help people. You're not here for just a coincidence. You're here and you're guided and you have a vision and you have a mission in your heart. You wouldn't be listening to this podcast if you were not someone who's truly interested in serving and making a difference and helping people. So I encourage you to tap into that, trust yourself, trust that you're here and everything that happens to you is for a reason. And you have a say in how you can turn things around, no matter how challenging your circumstances may feel right now. You've got this. Until next time, let's prosper together. And if you'd like more ideas and more suggestions on how you can change your decision-making process, feel free to book a call. Connect with me and my team. Would be happy to walk you through what could be a better way of working, a better way of looking at your life. Just go to fabianaclaure.com/call or look at the notes here under this podcast. And I'd look forward to be able to connect with you. We're here for you. Reach out if you need us. Until next time, let's prosper together.